yeah, those are probably my two main podcasts I listen to. And I went through your podcast and was listening to some of your stuff, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Was
Yeah.
there a particular one that you were listening to that you really liked out of curiosity?
I really liked the one with Doro.
Oh yeah.
He's really cool. Yeah,
Doro.
he's really cool. I like Doro, and I liked the one with Porto too. But yeah, Doro, a lot of stuff that he was saying on there, I was just like, yes. Like, I remember you guys got into like Imposter Syndrome and stuff like that,
Yes.
and I was like, oh, this speaks to me. I was just like, because a lot of times I'm listening to stuff when I'm at work, and I'm just sitting there, and I'm like, I feel this. Like, I get it. So yeah, that one was one of my favorites.
Yeah, that one was like, there's sometimes during podcasts where I'm like, I have kind of an outline in front of me of specific questions to hit on, kind of the topics I want to jump to. But sometimes like things just go, I mean, sometimes things do go very emotional or like kind of in like a mental area or like in a dark area. But like, I don't think that's ever a bad thing. Like, I feel like as I've gotten older, I understand like sometimes positive stuff can be not so positive, and sometimes the negative and dark things in our life, like it's really worth touching on them. And when we started going there with Dora, I was like, let's do it. Like, let's jump down here. Like, because I felt a lot with imposter syndrome. I know he talked a lot that he had that as well. A lot of people I've talked to since then have also said they felt that as well, where you feel like, especially streaming, because like streaming wise, like, we don't want to say it's a competition per se, but like you're always taking inspiration from your friends, you're always taking ideas from your friends and trying to tweak them in your way, and there's always that voice in the back of your head saying like, oh, you're not good enough to do this, or you just copying this from this person, or like, why are people watching you, or when they could be watching this person. And there's just this constant voice, and you're like, please go away now. Like, I just want to be happy and make stuff that I enjoy making. And yeah, that was a great one. Like, Doro is an absolute legend, and it was so awesome having Doro, because he's the first real like YouTuber per se who does like original content specifically for YouTube. And a lot of the streamers he follows, a lot of the YouTubers he follows, I also follow as well. So there was a lot of stuff in there where we were hitting it, and I'm just like, dude, we're definitely brothers, we just don't know it.
Yeah. No, I appreciate it, because he was very like real about it. And I think that, like, because I've never talked to Doro, but like, just him as a person and listening to how he was speaking, I was just like, yeah, he's not like putting up like, I don't want to say like a mask or anything, but he's just like, this is what I feel, this is exactly what you're gonna hear, and like, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, I'm not gonna like try to make it more like peppy. Like, he was just like, this is it, like, this is what you're getting. And like, I liked that a lot about it. So
people can also sense that too, like, especially when you're doing stuff like this, like podcasting and just having long form conversations, the way like people's reactions look, or their tone of voice, or how they say things. You can just, as humans, we can sense when somebody maybe is being a little bit hyperbolic or exaggerating. We can kind of get a sense of it. And when people are just honest and not putting on a mask, and kind of like you said earlier, like, your friends are like, Heather in streaming is the exact same Heather in real life, you don't ever have to worry about that feeling of like, I'm putting on a show.
They're gonna find out
like who I really am. And it's like, you're just going live and being you.
Right. Even with like imposter syndrome, because like I feel like I'm not like a huge, I don't think of myself as a huge Twitch person. Like, I'm not a content creator. I don't know what I would I'm just a girl trying to have fun on Twitch. But I get hit with that sometimes. And even recently, what I've been struggling with streaming is multitasking and trying to keep up with chat. And I don't know how streamers do it, because there's a few times where I've had to, like, I have a timer that goes off that's like, hey, I miss things in stream, like, please just repeat it to me. But I've had people be like, you're not reading my messages, or like, she doesn't care or anything, and it makes me feel real bad. Like, it does. And I've addressed it to people. I'm like, I'm not doing it on purpose. Like, it is really hard to read a chat full of people, try to figure out like who is talking to who, and like, am I part of this conversation or not? I have to remember what, I don't know, what you said to me 5 lines above, and then continue that at the same time play a game or do, like, it's a lot. And I get really, I don't want to say bent out of shape, but it hits me because I'm like, I don't want people to ever feel like I'm ignoring them on purpose, like I don't care about them or their day or anything like that.
Right.
I just genuinely miss it. And I get like a weird imposter syndrome, and I'm like, maybe I'm not cut out for this. Like maybe like people are looking for like actual content creators and I'm just like being me on like stream, like, you know what I mean? But that's something that I've been, honestly, like I've been struggling with, and I've been like this, especially this week, I've been having like really bad imposter syndrome, and I'm like, is it me? Like, is there any? And I'm like, I've asked people, I'm like, what do you do? And they're just like, there's nothing you can do. It's just that's the beast of the nature. And I'm like, but how do you just be like? And they're like, because you know what, people will that understand will actually understand, and like that is not your job to like make people understand. Like they're like, the platform is so big that if people get upset, like they can, you know what I mean? Like
Right.
it's not something that you should, like, I don't know, that's another thing. Like it is very hard for me on Twitch to kind of get like a thick skin with things. And not that I'm a people's pleaser or anything like that, but I want people to have a good time, obviously.
Right,
like
right.
And I want people to feel safe in my streams and like feel welcome. And when I am told like anything else than that, I'm like, man, maybe I'm just doing a bad job. Like I don't know what to do. And I'm like, I don't think I'm doing a bad job, but like maybe I guess I am, because I'm making somebody feel that way. But yeah, imposter syndrome, it sucks, man.
It's a
And
struggle.
I didn't feel that. I haven't felt that since like college and doing art critiques. And like everyone puts their stuff on the board, and like everyone's got to go through, and oh man, that's what the streaming sometimes makes me feel like, is like exactly what you said. Like you're not trying to look at other people's success and whatnot, but like at the same time you're like, okay, well, they're averaging this many viewers. What am I doing that I can't get to that point? Or like, why am I not doing that? Or like, why is 1 week, like I know Dora was saying, like, why 1 week I'm having like this many viewers and then the next week it like plummeted. Like what did I do? Yeah. So that's why a lot of times like I don't look at viewer count, because it's not so much of me being like, oh man, like there's not a lot of people. It's more or less me being like, sometimes I'm like, oh crap, there's a lot of people in here, and now I'm nervous, and like those big raids come and I'm like, oh, like
right.
I was okay thinking there's like 5 of us in here, but there's definitely not. Like yeah, so
No, I
get it.
completely feel that. Like I've been talking to a couple people who are just, I don't know if it's the summer season or, you know, people are getting back to their jobs. COVID's kind of like starting to ease up, but yeah, just the past month or so has just a lot of people have been seeing very different Twitch numbers, average viewers, than they were a few months back. So
Yeah.
I've been also like very much struggling mentally. I feel like I'm kind of getting out of it, kind of getting back in the sense where like I was really focused after I left my job. I just became like hyper focused on numbers, on growth, on like diving into the weeds and trying to figure out every strategy or idea that I could do.
At that point, you're your own boss.
Right.
In your own company. Like you are your own brand. So I get that. That's hard.
Yeah.
That's hard.
And the thing, like, honestly, what I would tell everybody out there listening, the thing with content creation is honestly, the more or the less involved you are from the money side of it, the better content just naturally you will make.
Yes.
And that's why I almost think the optimal strategy is almost to have like a part-time job and then to do this the other part-time, so it equates to like a full-time job, or like a full-time job if you can, and do this on the side, because then you don't ever have to worry about like subs or bits or hype trains. You don't worry about any of that, and then you just go and have fun. And then I mean, of course the average viewer thing is pretty tricky, but like I've kind of gotten to the point where I don't really even look at like the Twitch summary afterwards. I'm just like, I felt like I had a great stream, we were all chatting about a ton of stuff, and whether there was 20 or 30 or 50 or however many people was in there, we were just all having a bunch of fun. And I've been doing that this past like week or so, and I have been noticing like a different like attitude, you know, a little bit more excitedness to be streaming. Do you still kind of get a little bit of anxiety before pressing the go live button?
Oh, absolutely. I'm not gonna lie to anyone. I'm not gonna lie to anyone. like, okay, so when I first started streaming, my first stream, and I'll never forget this, my friend Mark, who is my mod, one of my dearest friends, he came to my stream. Again, was not expecting anyone to come because, again, Heather does not stream. We're not doing this. Go press live. I'm streaming Skyrim again on a laptop that is barely functioning with a capture card that's like $40 off of Amazon. And he comes in and he starts talking to me. And I cannot express to him enough how grateful I was in that moment, because I hate admitting this, but I have not had a stream yet where I haven't had one person in chat. Like, I've always had a stream where there's a few people, or at least one person that's talking to me in a stream. And he really melted that anxiety of being like, what if no one shows up? Because he was just like talking to me the whole time, really engaging. And if that's something I wish that, like, because I know there's a lot of people that struggle out there that are like, I can't get, like, I stream, there's no one active in my chat, no one's talking to me, and they start feeling really horrible about their streams. And he kind of was, I don't want to say like my crutch, but he really gave me a perspective like, this is streaming, you're going to talk to people, you're going to play a game, and like, do you plan on streaming full time? Like, what's the deal? And like, I love him to death, and like, I think I'm up and down every day. I'm like, that was like the best experience of a first stream I've ever, like, I wish I could give to people. I still get nervous when I hit live, and I don't know why. And I just don't. I don't know why. I don't know if it's just because I am a very, like, by nature, nervous person. But it has crossed my mind. I'm like, what if no one showed up? Like, what if no one showed up? Like, what if I start a stream and no one showed? Because, like, I'm not really here to play a game. I'm here to hang out with people. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
The game's there, but I like engaging with people. I like talk. Like,
that's why you stream and don't play it offline.
Right. Like, that's the fun of it. And yeah, I do. I sometimes, again, I like, and I've never had an experience like that, so I don't know why I have that like weird fear. And then in my head, I'm like, well, if no one shows up, then you just turn off the stream and that's it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, a logical thing. Like, all right, then no one shows up. That's okay. But yeah, no, I do. I still get I get nervous. I don't know. Do you get nervous? Because like, it's like a mixture of like me having nerves and me being like, oh shit, what if my computer just like what if I have tech issues? And then again, like, because last week I had a lot of tech issues, and I'm like, those streams I hate those streams, because now it's like, it's just my face. I'm probably looking really upset on my face because I am upset, and now I'm trying to troubleshoot, and this turned into a troubleshooting stream, and I have no idea what I'm doing with computers, and it's just awkward. My audio is messed up. I'm dropping frame, like, you know, it's just a hot mess, like, and why? It's just for everyone to see, and I'm just like, yep, this is it. So yeah. Do you still get nervous though, or no? You're like, we're doing this, let's go.
I honestly don't get nervous at all for pressing the go live button, but I do get nervous about tech issues because I've been notorious. It's a very big joke in my community that I used to stream for like the first year. I streamed straight off my MacBook Pro, and I didn't even stream on the Mac side of it. I had to install Windows and like side load it, so I wasn't even really using the best capabilities of my Mac essentially. And I'm very, 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 like, I'm extremely passionate about having as high quality a setup as possible. Like, I want A+ audio, I want A+ visuals, I want everything to be as smooth and high resolution and pixel perfect as possible. And when it doesn't happen, it just drives me crazy. And it's always like you were talking about, like, if it's not the camera, it's something with the audio not connecting, or it's the computer. Like, there's been times I've started streaming and it starts dropping frames. I'm like, what's going on? And I look over at my laptop and there's like 4% battery left, and I'm like, what? Why? We're like 20 minutes into the stream. And then you just have to raid out, and you're not really happy and you're frustrated, and it's like, I guess we're having a 20-minute stream today. That's just what it's gonna be. And yeah, so I feel like lately I've kind of started getting stuff like fixed out since I got my PC and everything. But yeah, I mean, going live, I don't know. I feel like I was more nervous in the past about like the outcome of the numbers, like the final number that you get in your stream summary. But now I just really don't care. Like I'm doing other things outside of streaming, like especially podcasting, doing stuff on YouTube, and I just want to get to the point where, like, you know, if 20 people's there, awesome. If 200 people's there, awesome. If 2 people are there, awesome. Like, yeah, I'm just there to have fun and, you know, talk to people, and whatever happens. And yeah, honestly, podcasting, like placing the call for the person, that is way more anxiety.
Really? I called you this.
right. So what always happens,
I was like, let's do this. Like,
what always happens, I'm like in the message, I'm like all ready to go, and it's like, yep, ready. And then I'm like taking a sip of my drink, like, okay. And then I've had a couple times. Oh, no, you are totally fine. Cause like I literally went to press the call button and it was like, Heather's calling, and I'm like, here we go. So, but yeah, like 2 minutes in, I'm like, all right, we're good. This is gonna be great. We're gonna be chill and it'll be fun. So yeah, I don't know if it's just time, and just as you go on, like things start to become easier, because they do become easier the more practice you put into it.
They do.
But yeah, I feel like just anytime there's a live audience, whether it's performing on stage, Twitch, public speaking in front of people, like there's always going to be, no matter how many times you've done it, like just a little bit of that anxiety, you know?
Yeah. I have to say, like, it's really funny because my boss, again, she comes into my streams and stuff. We have Zoom calls for our job, and she'll be like, all right, you have to take the lead. And I'm like, no. And she's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, my palms are already sweaty. Like, I can't do that. And she's like, you talk to people, like right now, I'm like talking to you and I'm totally okay. And she's like, you talk to people on a regular basis. Like, and I'm like, yeah, but I don't know. Like I'm not having face to face with them. And they're like, she's like, yeah, but you're still talking to people. And I'm like, yeah. And then you know what though? Which is why streaming has been really good for me, is that I just switched on, like, not like a streamer mode, but I'm just like, you're getting what you're getting.
Right.
And then like it completely melted away, and I'm like, you know what, and if I did bad on this call, then don't put me on calls anymore. Like, it's totally fine. But yeah, I think the one thing with streaming is it really has, I don't want to say built up my confidence, but it's made me less fearful in terms of just speaking and just being like, that's it, like I don't have to overthink what I'm about to say, or really, I guess, like put on a filter. It's just like, that's it. Like, I don't know. That's why I was like, you know what, if you don't want this on your YouTube, that's totally okay.
It will absolutely be on. We've already had like a lot of great conversation. I feel like just as I've gotten older though, there's just become more of the sense in my head, like it just really doesn't matter what people think of you. Like, like the more, I feel like we're so concerned inside what other people are going to think about us, but other people really don't, for the most part, care. They're too busy focusing on themselves and what somebody else is going to think about them. And we're all in our own little head bubbles. Like, do I look good today? Do I sound good today? Am I going to say something good? And like, nobody really cares.
No. And you know what it is too, is like, I feel like you just, I've always been a fan of just fake it till you make it. Honestly, like, you don't know it, it's okay, but it's one of those things where people are like, and it's just psychologically proven, like people are more drawn to people who are confident, even if they're not. Just fake it, like, because, you know, if you appear confident, it not only makes the person kind of feel less like nervous. Exactly what you said. Yeah, like, you know, and it also not makes you look, I don't want to say better, but it also just makes you look, I guess, like more comfortable to that person, to be like, all right, they're confident, like I should be confident too. Like, it's encouraging in a way. Yeah. So like, yeah, I feel like I'm a big fan of fake it till you make it in terms of being like confident. I'm like, I'm not confident at all, but we're pressing go live button. Whatever happens, like whatever.
One of my favorite quotes I've ever heard in my entire life came from my friend Lolly Lycan. And she said, those who matter don't care, and those who care don't matter. And when she said that, I was like, I could get that tattooed on my body. That's like such great advice.